Welcome to Spectrum News at 4. I am Rita Inung coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at the headlines. The President clarifies 3.3 trillion naira settlement plan approved for Gencos by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. INEC registers over 3.4 million new voters nationwide in ongoing CVR exercise. Plus, Israel issues new warnings for Beirut as Iran says attacks breach ceasefire. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more in a moment. Top of the moment to you, and many thanks for staying tuned. Our first report this hour is that the Presidency has clarified controversy surrounding the approval of a 3.3 trillion naira plan by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to settle verified legacy debts owed to power generation companies, Gencos, between February 2015 and March 2025. The initiative under the Presidential Power Sector Financial Reforms Program aims to stabilize the power grid and improve electricity supply, with 223 billion naira already disbursed. A statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, disclosed that implementation of the repayment plan has already begun, with 15 power plants already signed settlement agreements totaling 2.3 trillion naira. The approval, however, soon generated controversy among Gencos, who asked President Tinubu to clarify how the federal government arrived at the reported 3.3 trillion naira debt, raising concerns over discrepancies between the figure and reconciled industry records. The Presidency confirmed that a total of 223 billion naira has been disbursed to Gencos and gas suppliers, while 197 billion naira is in process, largely for gas-related obligations, noting that all disbursements are phased and conditional based on verified claims, signed settlement agreements, and completed documentation. Away from that, the federal government has unveiled a new leasing model aimed at replacing what it described as an exploitative hire and purchase agreements for motorcycle and tricycle operators across the country. The initiative, introduced through the Equipment Leasing Registration Authority, ELRA, in partnership with Century Information Systems Limited and the National Commercial Tricycle and Motorcycle Owners and Riders Association of Nigeria, NATO Moras, is designed to improve access to vehicles while easing financial burdens on operators. According to a statement issued in Abuja by the head of media and corporate communication of ELRA, Adebola Sunday, the model would provide a structured alternative to existing financing systems that have long disadvantaged riders, adding that the initiative seeks to address the challenges posed by high upfront costs and rigid repayment conditions that have limited access to motorcycles and tricycles for many operators. Reports say the move aligns with broader efforts by federal government to deepen financial inclusion and formalize large segments of the informal economy, particularly the transport sector, which employs millions of Nigerians. And in the meantime, the federal government said yesterday that Nigeria remains stable, resilient, and on a clear path to recovery and growth. The Minister for Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, stated this yesterday at the 81st General Assembly in 23rd Annual General Meeting of the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, Bonn, held at the Hawthorne Hotel and Suites, Abuja. The minister explained the progress being made on different fronts by the Tinubu administration. Speaking on security, Idris assured Nigerians that the federal government is making steady progress through sustained military operations and improved intelligence coordination. He cited recent successful operations in Zamfara and Niger states, where security forces neutralized bandits and disrupted planned attacks within a short period. On electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has recorded more than 3.4 million new voters in the ongoing second phase of the continuous voter registration exercise nationwide. In its Week 13 update released in Abuja, the Commission disclosed that a total of 3.4 million registrations had been completed as of April 3rd, covering both online pre-registrations and physical walk-ins across the country. According to the Commission, 2.6 million citizens completed their registration through the online portal, while 1.37 million others registered physically at designated centers nationwide. INEC noted that youth participation remained dominant with citizens aged between 18 and 34 accounting for 2.35 million registrants, representing 68.43% of the total. The Commission, however, urged eligible Nigerians who have yet to register to visit its official registration platforms and complete the process before the deadline. In politics, leaders of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and the Turaki-led faction of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, yesterday held a stakeholders meeting. Among those present were the national chairman of the ADC, Senator David Mark, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and the Labour Party's presidential candidate in the last election, Peter Gregory Obi. Also in attendance are the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, former Rivers State Governor, Rotimi Amechi, and Senator Aminu Tambuwal, amongst others. On the PDP side, attendees include Oyo State Governor, Sheyi Makinde, factional chairman, Turaki, Professor Jerry Ghana, former Senate President Adolphus Wabara, and former Niger State Governor Babangida Aliyu, alongside other members of the PDP's National Working Committee. In a related development, the leadership crisis within the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has escalated today as a faction led by Nafiu Gombe staged a protest at the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja, demanding formal recognition. Gombe, accompanied by Leke Abejide and hundreds of supporters, accused the leadership under David Mark of attempting to hijack the party's structure in violation of its constitution. Addressing INEC officials, Gombe stressed the need for due process in resolving the dispute. In Africa, a drone strike on the paramilitary-controlled town of Khartoum in Sudan's North Darfur state has killed 12 civilians, including 6 children. The strike comes amid an increase in drone attacks by both Sudan's army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, which have been at war since April 2023. A medical source told newsmen that those brought to the hospital in Khartoum included 12 dead, among them 6 children, including 3 female secondary school students. And still in Africa, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa yesterday received the diplomatic credentials of the new U.S. ambassador as relations between the two countries languish at a low pace. Brent Bozell, a right-wing media critic and staunch supporter of President Donald Trump, took up the position in February but got off to a rocky start with remarks on South Africa's racial policies and court decisions. In a brief ceremony at the Sefako Magathel presidential guest house in the capital, Bozo, alongside his spouse, was welcomed with a guard of honor before he handed over his credentials to Ramaphosa. 19 other envoys, including those from partially recognized Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, Haiti, and Cuba, also presented their papers. Ramaphosa underscored the expectation for diplomats to respect their host country's sovereignty, exercise discretion, and raise concerns through quiet, constructive channels rather than confrontational public criticism. And on the foreign scene, the Israeli military has issued evacuation orders for parts of Beirut as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will strike Hezbollah wherever necessary, despite the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. Meanwhile, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian says Israeli attacks on Lebanon blatantly violate the ceasefire as 203 people were killed yesterday. However, Iran's deputy foreign minister tells reporters that the Strait of Hormuz will reopen if the U.S. withdraws its aggression. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said late Wednesday that U.S. forces deployed near Iran would remain stationed in the area until a real agreement is reached. As Washington enters a fragile two-week ceasefire with Tehran, the truce, reached on Tuesday, showed signs of unraveling, with Israel bombarding Lebanon and Washington contradicting some of Iran's demands to end the war ahead of planned talks. The Strait of Hormuz is a key choke point through which 1/5 of the world's oil passes in peacetime. In a Farsi language release of demands circulated by Iranian state media, the Islamic Republic also insisted that Washington accept its uranium enrichment program as well. And still to come in the news. Cape Verde withdraws from Super Falcons friendly. Stay tuned for details of this story and more stories to come in a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned and welcome back to Spectrum News within the hour. Going now to our business news, the Naira yesterday appreciated to 1,392 Naira per dollar in the parallel market from 1,392 Naira per dollar on Tuesday. Similarly, the Naira appreciated to 1,369 Naira per dollar in the Nigerian foreign exchange market, NAFEM. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, showed that the indicative exchange rate for the Naira fell to 1,369 Naira per dollar from 1,389 Naira per dollar on Tuesday, reflecting 20 Naira appreciation for the Naira. Consequently, the margin between the parallel and official markets widened to 23 Naira per dollar from 5 Naira per dollar on Tuesday. Still in business, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals has slashed the ex-gantry price of premium motor spirit petrol for 1,200 Naira per litre, reversing its earlier increase amid a sharp drop in global crude oil prices, triggered by geopolitical developments. The latest adjustment represents a 75 Naira reduction from the previous price of about 1,275 Naira per litre, which the refinery had implemented in response to rising international oil prices and supply concerns. A top official at the refinery who confirmed the earlier price hike to reporters had said that the facility adjusted in pricing in response to the prevailing international crude oil benchmarks and market realities. In health, a professor of obstetrics and gynecology at Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Abidoye Badebosi, has called for stronger healthcare systems and policy reforms to safeguard maternal and child health in Nigeria. He made the call in Lagos yesterday while delivering the institution's 120th inaugural lecture titled Safeguarding the Continuation of the Human Race, Challenges and Prospects in Maternal and Child Health. The Don described obstetrics and gynecology as a critical medical specialty focused on the care of women during pregnancy, childbirth, the postpartum period, and overall reproductive health. According to him, obstetrics focuses on the management of both normal and high-risk pregnancies to ensure the well-being of mothers and newborns, while gynecology addresses reproductive health issues such as infertility, infections, menstrual disorders, and cancers. To sports news now, where Cape Verde have withdrawn from their planned international friendlies against Nigeria's Super Falcons. The fixtures were slated for Wednesday, April 15th and Saturday, April 18th at the Remo Stars Stadium in Ikenne. Reports indicate that the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, is now searching for a replacement opponent. The Super Falcons are still expected to assemble in Abuja this weekend, with the matches intended to form part of their build-up to the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations in July. Still in sports, Ademola Lookman has hailed Atletico Madrid's Champions League victory over Barcelona. Diego Simon's side defeated their host 2-0 at the Spotify camp NOU on Wednesday night. Barcelona were reduced to 10 men when Pau Cabasi was sent off towards the end of the first half. Atletico got their goals through Julian Alvarez and Alexander Soloth. Lookman said the win reflects the togetherness in the team. On our entertainment news, Nigerian disc jockey and record producer Imohiosen Patrick, popularly known as DJ Neptune, has predicted that artificial intelligence, AI would soon retire music producers. Reckoning with media personality N6, who made a similar prediction, DJ Neptune shared how he wanted to sign an artist after listening to a song recently, only to discover that it was AI. Consequently, the Recording Academy has updated its rules to allow music with AI features to be eligible for the Grammys so long they have enough human contributions. However, there is a strong debate among industry figures to keep music human, arguing that AI leaves questions about authenticity and authorship. And that's all we have for you on the news at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rita Eno. Enjoy the rest of your day.